Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be, and welcome to a very special interview of the Final Cut podcast. And today I have a very special guest. There is only one thing you need to know about my guest. He is a member of one of the most iconic British bands that has ever been, and that is The Jam. So, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Russell Hastings.
Oh, from The Jam. Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Yep, so obviously, first question, how are you?
I'm good, yeah, I'm good. I'm bearing up.
So I'll start with the obvious question. The Jam, and from The Jam, 40 years old and still going strong. Did you expect the group to still be going now, even after all the breakups?
Well, I think everybody would be surprised in whatever format it's in at the moment, really. I suppose, really, particularly people like Bruce, really. It was, I often say to Bruce, but you didn't think you'd still be doing this, 40 plus years down the line. He went, absolutely not, they never thought that at all. When the early recordings were going out and about, when they were trudging up down the A3, that life would still be involving music and playing those great songs, 40 plus years down the line, 43, 44 years.
So, obviously, 40 years has been a very long time for a career. What have been your highlights from both your time in The Jam and from The Jam and the way?
Well, I've only been in From The Jam for like 15, 16 years. So, and I was around when Rick was in the band as well. Rick Buckler was The Jam's original drummer, and then Bruce came along. And in the last 15, 16 years, I've been lucky enough to, go all around the world with the band. Toured it in many different places in America, Australia. Been some amazing experiences. Been in a yellow cab in Chicago sticks out with me with Rick and Bruce. That was pretty bonkers for some reason. I don't know why that sticks in my mind, but that was like back about 13 years ago. It was one of the coldest times I've ever experienced in my life. And got out of this cab. They were going to take me to Sears Tower in Chicago. And got out of this cab, and it was I think it was like minus 22. Ooh. And but it was cold. But I just remember being in this, in a yellow cab. They'd always been synonymous in my life, in movies and through those 70s and things like that. So there I am in a yellow cab in Chicago with Bruce Foxton and Rick Buckler, and they take me to Sears Tower, and I just remember it as a big memory. It just doesn't mean much to many people, but it does to me.
That's all that matters. If it means something to you.
Yeah,
I remember it a lot. Yeah. So speaking of Bruce and Rick, you're the only man who has worked with both of them. So obviously, being that they are two different people, what differences do they have when they work?
Sorry.
Basically, as everyone knows, no two musicians are the same. So what differently did they bring to the band? As in separately,
just personalities, really. Personalities were very different. And I think it was this misconception that they would be the same sort of people and that everybody would get on, and I think there's it's like this image of Morecambe and Wise, and everyone used to imagine that they were the best of friends or partners in crime, sometimes, they come from different walks of life, really, and sometimes you got on with people, sometimes you didn't. But it'd be personalities. I think that's always the case in bands. Personalities are always important because the fans only see what's going on for maybe an hour and 20 minutes of the night, and that's all that they're concerned about, which is how it should be. But the band remain together, for sort of 14, 15 hours a day. So if you can get on. It's a great thing, and if you can't, then it's a bit of a struggle. But, fortunately, I've always got on with both of them and got on really well. And I've travelled and sat in airports and on flights and, shared some dark times as well with the passings of people, loved ones and things like that. So, I got to know both members really well. And it's just been a great experience for me. But as far as personalities go, Rick was always considered to be the quiet one, and Bruce was, considered to just be Bruce and a bit of a laugh and a great bass player. And of course, Paul was always considered to be the moody one, but I've never found that the case at all. I've always found Paul very amiable and quite humorous. Really, quite a funny guy.
So, obviously, what has changed in the music business for you since,
it's just all changed completely. And the recording industry has completely changed. And you used to earn money from, or your living would be earned from selling product, selling albums, and then you'd go out and tour it and to promote it. And then, and now it's completely the other way round. It's flipped right the way round. So, there's not really that much money in selling music today as it is today, because I think that will change. So it'll have to change because otherwise there's just no income for people to have, and particularly in times like now, there's no work, there's no touring going on, so there's nothing going on, so there's no income for the music industry, pretty much full stop.
So speaking of the times we're in, what are you doing as yourself? Are you relaxing? Are you catching up on 40 years worth of sleep, or are you still going at it?
No, I'm pretty relaxed, really. I've been enjoying myself at home, and which has been great, relaxing at home and, doing what we can, because we can't really go anywhere else at the moment. But yeah, doing things around the house, playing a bit of guitar. My son Bobby plays guitar as well. So I've been playing with him at night and just enjoying watching him find out about music and find out about playing the guitar and what it's all been, the whole experience, the excitement that he shows, because he's only 16, my youngest one. And so, I've been playing along with him, which he's a far better technical guitarist than me. I've never been a great guitarist. I've always got by, it does me. But yeah, I've been enjoying myself, and now the weather's got a little bit better as well. It's a bit more pleasant, so yeah, not bad. I'm not bored yet.
Yeah. Would you like it if your son followed you into music?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I think it would be great. I think it would. It's a great way to. It's a great thing to do. I think it's very different to normal mainstay life. You don't. You get up at different times. I don't mean to say because you're out smashing hotel rooms up, because you're not. And we certainly aren't. But it's not important. Usually Mondays are days off anyway, where most people are going to work. I've got that drudge Monday feeling where you don't get it, in the music business pretty much. But it's a great way. When it's kind, it's kind. When it's cruel, it's cruel.
So, now in theory, you should have a tour coming later this year. In theory,
Sound Effects 40th anniversary.
Yep. Yeah. So, just for everyone who's wondering, there is a tour from September to January at the tail end of this year and the beginning of next year. So, I suppose you could say, any preferred locations on the tour?
Everywhere is great. Everywhere can catch you by surprise. I think I've learned enough over the years not to expect one particular venue to be great, because if you do, it's invariably not. And the ones that you thought were not are great. So, but I mean, I love playing the Ritz in Manchester, which is brilliant. Love playing Glasgow, I love playing London, love playing Salisbury, Southampton, Wales, Cardiff, you name it. Belfast. We were in Belfast a little while ago, actually. We were there just before the lockdown, and that was great as well out there. But, I love being on the road, really. I love travelling around. I've been on the road in hotels. I didn't think I'd ever say that, but I sort of like that. The thought of it at the moment sounds really more exciting than it usually is, but that's because I can't go anywhere. But, most places. Last year we played right across the world. We played Japan, New Zealand, Hong Kong, Australia, and then we came back here and started another big tour here. So, and then we finished that in January. So we were pretty worn out. We were ready for the rest anyway. So this lockdown's been pretty good for us.
So obviously there's so many venues on the actual tour. Is there any that you wanted to go but couldn't for whatever reason? There's
always venue availability. I know that the Dome in Brighton was been problematic because getting availability for that, because it's council run, and it's usually booked sort of 3 years in advance. So that was a difficult one to get to. So we ended up doing a Tuesday night at the Dome in Brighton, which would still be a great night anyway, but they wanted it for a Friday or a Saturday night. But usually it's the promoters that get to hear those problems, not me. We just get given a list of where we are and where we're going, and then we just get on and go there.
Right, so seeing as we all are in quarantine, obviously, this is more of a recommendation for everyone listening that we're in at the moment. What would you recommend listen to music-wise and watch and say streaming-wise from you personally and from your back catalogue of music, and obviously what movies you or your family like?
Well, Talk Colour of Spring has always been a great favourite album of mine, and a dear friend of mine plays harmonica on it, Mark Felton from 9 Below Zero, and it was always one of my favourite albums. So Talks, Colour of Spring. They also did a great album called Eden as well. I think it was Eden around that time. And then movies-wise, God, I haven't sat down and watched a movie for ages. I'm into sort of watching Netflix, series at the moment, like binge watching series. I'm watching Ozark and that at the moment, but there's not much music in that. Boardwalk Empire was pretty good with a load of great tunes on that. My wife, when we'd sit there and watch it, she would sort of like Shazam it all. There are some great tracks on it, and of course some of the tracks out of Breaking Bad. Of the series Breaking Bad, really. But new music wise, I think Steve Pilgrim, Paul Weller's drummer, he's got some great acoustic stuff that he's doing. Some new stuff. I'm really into what he's doing because it's very much like the John Martin stuff. So that's the very latest stuff. And I rate him as a vocalist, and he's just an all-round great musician, because there he is playing drums with Paul, and he's a great little guitar player as well, and a nice guy to go with it.
Well, I know it's been very short, but it has been an absolute honour having you on this podcast interview here today. So with that being said, on that, ladies and gentlemen, Russell Hastings.
Thank you very much.